That's where we get the name of Dontra. G'day guys, we've got an awesome adventure this week. Epic hiking in total isolation, birdsong mornings, the coziest fire-built sauna, cold water diving, and Lara's first crayfish. Let's go. G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. We've got another homegrown adventure. We've left Hobart this morning. We've driven about an hour and a half down to the south coast of Tasmania. We've set up our camp in a beautiful, quiet, private little campsite right near the trailhead for our plans. 2 years ago, my brother Paul, Lara and myself, we hiked a multi-day hike called the Three Capes. 3 nights and 4 days. You hike right out to Cape Pillar, which is spectacular, as well as out to Cape Hoy. And the third cape is Cape Raoul, which you see, but you don't actually hike out to. So this afternoon we'll have the chance to actually go and complete, let's say, the third cape. We're here in Tasman National Park, and to give you an idea, this is where we'll walk out to today, Cape Raoul. And on the Three Capes track, this is where you start. So you take a boat ride across to this area, and then you walk out to Cape Pillar and Cape Hoy. If you want to check out that walk, it's world class in my opinion. We'll share a link in the description below. Big dam, did you say? Must be. We're 20 minutes into our hike and we come across a Y junction. We're going to continue off to the left, which will take us out to Cape Raoul. But if you were to go to the right, it takes you out to Shipstern Bluff. So from here, it's about another hour to get out there. Down here in the southern part of Tassie, this has got some of the biggest, heaviest, most notorious waves in the southern hemisphere. It does require the right conditions all to sort of Swiss cheese effect come together to create this beautiful big wave.
I don't know, they've seen it over 100 metres in the air and you can still see it break. I am quite the opposite. I think it's very calm and chill.
About 45 minutes into the hike, you arrive at the Cape Raoul lookout. So it's nice and calm. Almost lost the lens cap.
Wouldn't be a trip if you did this.
Yeah. We're starting to get those views that the Tasman Peninsula is famous for, and that's these soaring, exposed dolerite columns. The track's well looked after, well curated, and it starts with a slow ascent from the trailhead. We've reached the cliffs and it seems to have flattened out now. And we're walking through areas of Kunzia in this dry sclerophyll forest full of eucalypt trees. Where we first started, it was more down in a valley. It felt like a rainforest and there were these giant big soaring gum trees. But as we've made our way in here, none of the gum trees are all too big. They can't get too big because the quality of the soil is really poor. And we're exposed to the southern ocean and the winds that come ripping through here, smashing everything down. Wow, look at the colours. Today's a really pleasant day for a Tassie bushwalk. It's overcast and the temperature is low in the 20s. We are walking here in summer, but summer hasn't really arrived here in southern Tasmania just yet. It's been cold, it's windy. There haven't been too many days, so I haven't had to pull the jumper or the beanie out. Lemony? Because it is a clear day, from that last lookout, we could see off in the distance Bruny Island. These places from a European point of view were uncharted. So they named the various headlands, capes, beaches, mountains as they travelled around. So the walk that we're on now, it's called Cape Raoul, and that was one of the sailors that was on the 1792 expedition. That expedition was led by a guy called Bruny D'Entrecasteaux. So that's where we get the name, the D'Entrecasteaux Channel, and of course Bruny Island. Today the wind's coming from the east, so looking over to the westerly side, looks nice and calm. We're going to be scuba diving tomorrow, but we're going to be leaving from the eastern side, and it's meant to be a day full of chop and swell. We're going to be chasing the southern rock lobster and hopefully getting our hands on some abalone. We must be getting closer and closer to the edge, to the cape. All of the greenery, all the shrubbery, it's got quite low. It's all knotted together at the bottom. This is a really hardy, resilient type of scrub, capable of surviving in difficult conditions like this. Cape Raoul is one of Tasmania's most dramatic coastal landscapes. Despite brutal conditions, salt spray, wind and thin soils, the headland supports a diverse range of shrubs and flowers. The cliffs are carved from Jurassic dolerite, molten rock that cooled slowly underground 170 million years ago, cracking into vertical, hexagonal columns. The cape feels like the end of the land. Rock meeting the enormous force of the Southern Ocean and the roaring westerlies. What are you stacking on?
We just saw some yellow-tailed black cockatoos in the distance.
Love those guys. We're almost there. We've almost arrived at Cape Raoul. We've just hit another wide junction and we're heading out to the main lookout. The wind out here is capable of ferocious speeds and unpredictability. The Cape sits where cold Southern Ocean air clashes with warmer Tasman sea air, leading to fast cloud build-up and squalls forming seemingly out of nowhere. At up to 250 metres in height, the sheer dolerite walls force air upwards and steep waves cause confused and treacherous seas. Get a bit of a sick feeling in the guts with those cliff edges, but it can be deceptive. It looks like a sheer drop off, but we did have some rocks around us. Next stop, just a couple of minutes walk away, is another viewpoint called the Seal Lookout. Right down at the end there is a haul out or a regular colony of fur seals. Now we think we can see at least one down there. So we've done about 7.5, maybe 8 Ks out to the lookouts, and now I've got to go back where we started. So it's one way in, one way out. So we're heading up there. Obviously that means we've got the hard stuff ahead of us now. And we want to make the most of this afternoon because the best part of where we're staying is that it has a beautiful secluded secret sauna. I think I like it a bit darker like this. We haven't seen a huge amount of wildlife except for birds for the entire hike, but we've just got back to our campsite. Just ahead of us there's a cute little paddy melon, which is a type of wallaby. So cute with his little mouse face. There's no one else staying here, so we've got it all to ourselves tonight. Just over here there's a fresh water shower. This wood's come off scribbly gum. There's some written instructions about how to start the fire to get the sauna going. And towards the end, it says, lastly, for a memorable experience to get the blood pumping and revitalise the senses, you can either jump in the dam, just behind us here, take an outdoor cold shower, pour a bucket of cold water over yourself, or run around the sauna naked 3 times. What are you going for, Lara?
Naked, for sure.
This fire pit's an old beer keg. Nice fire. Wowee.
Lamb chops, lamb cutlets, sweet potato, zucchini, asparagus, and some feta dip.
You look like a little old lady.
I am.
I don't know how I feel about this. This could be a potential health hazard after all the food we've eaten. Spotlighting.
Yeah. Such a relaxing experience, just chilling out in the sauna for half an hour. Very, very cool.
Sound of frogs and birds.
Yeah, and it's so quiet.
Time to pack up and get in the water. We are heading out with Go Dive Tasmania, departing from Eagle Hawk Neck. Their 7.2 metre ribs allow access to remote, hard to reach sites and consistently put us in the best spots. Every trip doubles as a wilderness and sightseeing cruise. This morning, birds were dive bombing into bait balls and there were dozens of playful dolphins taking advantage of the bounty. We rounded Cape Hoy for an oceanside perspective of those dolerite columns, kitted up, and then it was our time to get in the bitterly cold water. Our goal for today was to harvest some crayfish. They're a real icon down here, and for the last few years I've enjoyed catching them to be served at Christmas, a tradition in these parts. Secretly, today my focus was all about Lara catching one for the first time. Visibility was good, but the seafloor was heavily matted with thick kelp and a persistent swell made searching challenging. She found this one wedged deep in a crevice. Hard to express pride underwater, particularly when you're focused on avoiding a face full of jellyfish. But I was beaming with how she'd overcome some fear and discomfort. Now, what happens next was incredible, but requires the right conditions and sea state. Aaron poked the boat around for a close-up of the Totem Pole and Candlestick, some of the most dramatic sea stacks in the world, famous amongst climbers and adventure seekers. The Totem Pole was first climbed in 1968 by John Eubank. 65 metres of dolerite pillar rising straight out of the sea. If you're not planning on climbing the Totem Pole, or slacklining like these daredevils, and maybe boats aren't your thing, you can get sensational views of this area by hiking out to Cape Hoy in Tasman National Park. By the second dive, Lara had got her eye in and was able to catch her second cray.
Lara's first crays. Well done.
First ones.
Congrats.
On the way out of the region, we made a quick stop off at the Tessellated pavement, a striking geological feature. A rock platform of sandstone and mudstone that is fractured into near perfect geometric shapes, or tessellations. It's best enjoyed at low tide and only a 5-minute walk from the road. Once back at home, Lara's cat Remy was keen to show off his own crayfishing skills before we got down to the finicky yet rewarding job of cleaning our catch. This is just the paint scraper. This works perfect. Let's do it. Thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please take a minute to hit the like button, send to a friend, and even subscribe for future adventures. It's free and helps the channel grow. See you next week.